At 13 years old, Alyssa Liu was the youngest national champion in US figure skating history. At 16, she retired saying that the sport didn't bring her any joy anymore. And now at 20, she is an Olympic gold medalist. Welcome back to Olympic Winter is Coming, the series where I'm telling you everything you need to know about this year's Winter Games. One of my absolute favorite moments from this year's Winter Games was watching Alyssa Liu compete in the free skate that ultimately won her the gold medal. When she Mario leaped onto the top step of that podium, she became the first American woman to do so since Sarah Hughes in 2002. And I think if you watched her skate, you can see the reason she was able to finally break that drought for the US team. Alyssa was an absolute wonder to watch at this year's Olympics, and it was because of how much fun she was visibly having on the ice. But that fun was something that she wasn't having when she was being viewed as this future of the US national team. At 13 years old in 2019, she became the youngest national champion for the US in history. And the following year, when she won the US national championship again, she became the youngest person to ever win back-to-back titles. Alyssa even made it to the Olympics before in 2022. While she didn't make it onto the podium that year, she did make it to the Olympics at just 16 years old. And a lot of people viewed her as sort of this future of US skating. However, at the end of that season, Alyssa announced her retirement very casually. And the most important thing that she said was that the sport was not bringing her joy anymore. And Alyssa went to go live a life away from skating. Since then, Alyssa decided to go to college, has really come into herself, her own personality, and the way she views her self-image. When she decided she wanted to come back to skating, her coaches thought she meant collegiately. And she made it clear that not only did she mean that she wanted to go to the Olympics again, she also would be doing so on her terms. When speaking about the first part of her career, Alyssa said that she had no control over it at all. All of it was based on a schedule that had been made for her, as people tried to mine this talent that they saw in her. But with her having no agency in that career, she ultimately didn't find any joy in it. And when she made her comeback, she wanted to do so on her own terms. One of the things that really stuck out to me about her talking about that comeback was not only an expectation of being involved in her own choreography, but also in her nutrition. Alyssa making the decision to come back to skating in a way that was not only healthy to her, but also focused on her own autonomy is exactly what made this comeback so golden. You could see in every moment of her free skate how happy she was to be on the ice. And I think not only the level of confidence that we saw from her at this year's Olympics, also the level of sportsmanship and joy that she displayed celebrating her opponents just as much as her own victories. Alyssa is not only this incredible gold medalist skater that's broken this drought for the US team, I think she's also the kind of role model that all of us needed to see regardless of gender, age, or nationality. Alyssa was willing to do something that we're not always strong enough to do, which was to take a look at her own mental health and step away from something that everyone told her she was incredible at, and to make the decision to come back to that thing that she was so great at in a way that would be healthy for her, and that visibly showed how much better her skating would be when she was able to be happy. For more stories like this and coverage of the rest of the Winter Games, be sure to follow along for the rest of Olympic Winter is Coming.